Hello everyone. Today we finished the last part of chapter 1 of our novel The Longest Journey. So let's start quickly. After graduating, Lena moved back to Vancouver, into the house where she grew up. Her parents had moved to San Diego when Peter, a neuroscientist, took a job at the University of California campus there. They leased most of the house to tenants, and Lena paid a nominal rent to live in the basement. With her family gone, Ruby, a talented gymnast, was traveling the world as a trapeze artist. Lena had next to no social contact. She lacked a steady job too, following a short stint planting trees and a brief try at medical school. She felt useless, without purpose. She wished there was even one person who wanted to spend time with her or cared about what was going on in her life. The only thing that gave Lena relief was skiing. She volunteered on the ski patrol at Whistler, biking or hitchhiking nearly 75 miles each way from Vancouver. She soon bored of the resort runs and began skiing outside the ropes. Avalanche education was new and hard to obtain, and Lena's parents paid for her to take the only course she could find. She slept in her car in the parking lot during the week-long instruction, taking naturally to the dirtbag lifestyle pioneered by climbers and ski bums. In the winter of 1998, Lena and one of her only friends, Mary Beth Board, ski-toured in the backcountry outside Whistler as often as they could. After she descended several big lines, people said that Lena was good enough to go pro in the burgeoning sport of big mountain skiing. But being in the backcountry gave her an elusive joy she was reluctant to saddle with obligation. Plus, she could hardly handle everyday tasks, let alone chase sponsorships. And God, she was still so lonely. On top of Lena's stunted ability to connect with people, the seasonal nature of mountain towns made social attachments ephemeral for everyone, contributing to a feeling of isolation in a place with few mental health services to turn to. Not that mountain culture in that era was ready to prioritize mental health. The mostly male community overwhelmingly prized strength, speed, stoicism, and infallible expertise. A willingness to show vulnerability was, and too often still is, sacrificed as the cost of belonging. And so Lena sacrificed. By the late 1990s, her depression was so deep that she found herself sometimes thinking about suicide. Then, in the summer of 1999, Peter took his daughters to climb Mount Waddington, the highest peak in the Coast Range Mountains at 13,000 feet. One day on that expedition, Lena gazed at the glaciers spilling out in every direction. She thought how easy it was to travel on them through the mountains. She pulled out a map of the range. The glacier seemed to stretch from her home in Vancouver all the way to Alaska, into the St. Elias Mountains, up and over Mount Logan, Canada's highest peak, and down to the Gulf of Alaska. You could strap on a pair of skis and just keep going. From that moment on, Lena's plan was to connect the entire stretch over several years, in 2-month segments. That's how Peter tackled long traverses too, traveling in March and April, when conditions were optimal. Here, she thought, was a project that would take 3 or 4 spring seasons to complete. A sense of direction that would span years.